Welcome to Call Frost First, Illinois Injury Law.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Call Frost First, Illinois Injury Law with Kevin J. Frost. Kevin is the managing partner of Clark Frost Zucchi and a trial attorney representing injured individuals and families across northern Illinois. He's secured multi-million-dollar settlements and verdicts in cases involving trucking accidents, wrongful death, workplace injuries, and medical negligence. My name's Sean O'Connor, and today Kevin and I are talking about what happens if someone misses the deadline to file an injury claim in Illinois. Kevin, it's good to see you.
Nice to see you, Sean.
We have spoken in previous episodes about the importance of deadlines and statutes of limitation and that sort of thing. So, in Illinois, what is the standard statute of limitations for most personal injury claims?
Most personal injury claims in Illinois have a 2-year statute of limitations, meaning either the case needs to be settled and or a lawsuit must be filed by that 2-year date. And if you don't do that, then there's big problems.
And the date, the initiation date being the day I was injured, say.
Correct. Normally it's the date of occurrence, right? Whenever the event took place, that's when the statute begins to run.
And is there any situation where that deadline changes, types of case, car accident versus truck versus work versus wrongful death, anything like that needs to be factored in?
So if it's a workers' compensation case in Illinois, instead of being 2 years, you have 3 years to file it. But if it's a workplace injury against a third party, it still falls back on the 2-year statute of limitations.
So if I'm at your place of work, if I'm at your store as a customer and I get hurt, that's 2 years. But if I work for you at that store, it's 3?
Correct. Exactly. Yes.
No.
So and there are situations where you asked also about can it be modified? There are some medical malpractice cases where, let's say, you had the surgery on January 1st of a specific year, but you really maybe didn't realize that something went wrong until March 1st, right? When you saw another physician or they told you that. Sometimes that can extend it on from the date in which you knew or should have known that there was, in that case, a malpractice case. But we always try to err on the side of caution and not wait for, in that case, those 2 months, right? We'd much rather just get it filed in the window of time within 2 years.
Yeah. Although the medical negligence thing makes total sense, right? You've had some, I had open heart surgery. I'm down and out for days and weeks, just recovering, and that, you could see how, like, okay, a little bit of slack on that one in terms of when you can file makes some sense in this case.
Sure. And that's why you just may be sore or not feeling well, and you may not even have a follow appointment, so you may not even know that there's an issue till some further time down the road.
We talked about the filing deadline, and from the date of accident, right? Date of injury discovery is a term that would be like in the medical malpractice situation, right?
Correct. The discovery is what we just talked about. Correct.
Yeah.
But like what day you're in a motor vehicle collision, or what day you were, like you said, you were in a store, right? And you slipped and fell on something that happened on a specific date, and that's the date that counts as the date of the incident.
Got it. Are there any other situations or circumstances where you can extend the deadline or pause it under Illinois law?
It can be extended with respect to a minor. So let's say you're a 16-year-old and you're in a motor vehicle collision. Instead of being 2 years, you have 2 years from the time which you reach the age of majority. So you would get an extension of time. So basically, the clock starts running when you turn 18. So if you whatever reason you didn't know you had a claim because you were a minor. Let's say you're an 8-year-old child, right? And your parents they forgot or they didn't know. I guess the policy is that why should the minor be punished for that? So in Illinois, it's 2 years from when you reach the age of majority. that's in the time that it's extended.
Yeah.
And there are also times when it's actually shortened, right? There in Illinois, if you're suing a governmental entity, whether it be your city, your county, the state of Illinois,
Yeah.
those statute of limitations
Bus
are
company.
actually shortened.
Yeah. What about in the case of I know I've lived in some towns where the local bus was a private company, but I think it was under contract by the city to serve a particular route. Would that be in effect be the government taking responsibility for that, and I'd have a shortened window, or would that not apply?
So it would depend. I mean, you'd have to really dig in to see the financing, the funding, the actual entity. If it's a private corporation providing like a shuttle service
Yeah.
to residents, and it's private, then that's a time when it could be a 2 year, versus if it's a government owned or taxing body that's running like a transit district, for instance, and that's all government funded, then those are time when it's treated no different than being
Sure.
owned by the city, even though if it's its own entity. So in those times, they would be shortened to a 1 year statute.
Got it. Got it. Let's talk procedure for a second. What happens if a lawsuit is filed after the statute of limitation has expired? Is that even possible?
I mean, someone could try filing one, and odds are, in a short amount of time, whoever comes in as defense counsel is going to point that out to the court and have that case dismissed.
Are there any cases in your sort of recent memory bank where timing of a case became a critical issue, for better or worse?
Oh, sure. I mean, knowing that, for instance, like you said about the question about a bus, whether it being public or private, knowing that information as quickly as you can, so you have your procedures in place to know that it is a 1 year statute, and you file within that 1 year time. I mean, whether or not the person's done treating or not, you have an obligation to get it on file, and we've definitely had cases involving torts against or actions against governmental entities where it's paramount to get it on file and have that take place, so you don't relinquish the rights of your client who came to hire you.
The minor, the deadline being measured from turning 18, right? So I'm a 14-year-old kid. I live in the city. I'm riding the city bus, and I slip and fall getting off the bus. I don't know, right? And it's only years later that I'm like, this limp I've got was from that bus. Like, can I go back now that I'm aware as an adult legally that recourse was available to me? Can I go back and sue in that kind of a context?
Yeah, I think you should, if you're a 14-year-old in that situation, instead of it being probably 2 years added on when you turn 18, since the statute's a 1 year statute, you would just get that 1 year, right?
Okay.
And so you would still be able to file and hopefully prevail in that case once you turn 18.
I'm trying to I don't know why I'm trying to create scenarios where, like, I don't mean to test you. Okay, hold.
Sure, but again, that's why
you didn't know you were taking the bar exam again, did you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm taking the bar. That's right. It's good practice. But no, I think that, and that's another reason why, Sean, it's important. If you're a potential client, or if someone has a question, to just call us and ask these questions, or make an appointment to come in and look over and explain what your rights or your child's rights are, so and obviously, if someone came in with a 14-year-old, we represent minors vis-a-vis through the parent is next of kin, and so we wouldn't wait that time period to do that.
Right.
I had a case once with a minor involving a bad dog bite and multiple surgeries, and the mom really wanted to wait to see how their daughter, how she was going to look when she got to high school. what were going to be your damages with respect to how the multiple surgeries that were required on her over time, because they took many. So that was a case that went on for quite a bit of time, and the insurance company representing the dog owner, they didn't object, and we really didn't care. But we were able to do that and have that case for an extended amount of time. And frankly, in the end, it maximized her damages, because after 3 or 4 surgeries, there were still long-term effects that frankly, were unfortunately not able to come back to normal, right? So it was important to do that.
Some things couldn't be fixed, so to speak. Wow. Other than, the obvious, you just mentioned, great idea to call an attorney to help you navigate these waters. But, if someone is unsure about whether a deadline is passed, are there other steps that they should be taking to determine their options?
I think the most important thing is to call someone like myself that does this type of work in your community, and obviously, we need to know the specific date always, right? Like what was the date of the occurrence? We get the police report so we can confirm that the date is right, or looking at ER records. To someone says, well, I was in an accident in May of 2025. I'm not sure if it was May 1st or May 10th. Or if it's almost 2 years back, it was May of 20. Someone calls right now and says, I was in an accident. It was May 1st, 2024. I can't help them, right? The time is too late. So that's why, again, it is important to reach out and call and find out that information as quickly as you can.
Well, that's good stuff. As always, time has flown by, and we have to press pause on this, Kevin. But thanks as always for being here and sharing your insight and expertise. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You bet. Deadlines can quietly close the door on a case, as you just heard, and understanding how they work is critical. So if you do have questions about filing deadlines for an injury claim in Northern Illinois, you can contact Clark Frost Zucchi for a free consultation at clarkfrost.com. As always, thanks for listening. If you found this episode interesting and helpful, leave us a thumbs up, maybe write a review, and for sure, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. I'm Sean O'Connor. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.